in the magic mirror, come from the farthest space. Through wind and darkness I summon thee. Speak. Let me see thy face.
What wouldst thou know, my queen?
Hey guys, welcome back to the Bucket Think Tank. So, it's been a while since we've talked about something like this, haven't we? And since we've hit 500 plus, yay! Thanks everybody. Love you no matter what anybody says about you. I figured we should revisit something we've done before, which is the Disney Royalty series. If for no other reason than I still haven't reviewed Raya and the Last Dragon, and I'm just... granted, Moana 2 happened. There's probably Moana 3 happening, so I might as well just wait for that whole thing to end. So, I figured let's talk about Snow White, and due to certain things involving the remake, i.e. this...
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be. And
I'm in no real rush to see that movie, and it's sort of a poisoning of the well, if anything. But, since that whole thing happened, there's been this huge, weird discourse up over this movie about what Snow White means, about what she symbolizes, what she should be, what she shouldn't be. And, of course, there was that old discussion with Keira Knightley, and it's just a whole thing, I think the best way to sum that up is to go to my Disney Royalty wrap-up, which will probably be in the description here, and maybe even a little flag thing. But I want to talk about Snow White itself, and I recently rewatched this movie for the first time in a while, really, and honestly, I like it. I really like it. And I think we don't give Snow White enough credit, and I've been very critical of the Disney remakes for obvious reasons, namely because of how significant some of these films are. Like, for example, we talk about Cinderella and how that dress scene is Walt Disney's favorite scene in the original animated one. We talk about the importance of Beauty and the Beast, and Little Mermaid, and Aladdin, and someone thought Pete's Dragon was a good idea. And we're just a whole thing. And so I thought, well, with Snow White, this movie isn't just important to Disney, as Walt's first, big feature. It's actually the first animated feature film ever. You take this movie out of history, and who knows what happens to animation. It will not be the same. It's the same as if you were to say, what would shonen be like as an anime genre, if you took Dragon Ball out? Be totally different. Almost unrecognizable. And looking at this movie, like, oh my god, it is so good. Oh, okay. Alright, so for the premise, for those of you that have not seen Snow White, alright, so there's this broad here, like, oh, just like she's very lovely. Actually, you know what? Let's get rid of the image. Let's get rid of the image here, because I need my full cowling for this here. So the evil queen comes in, talks to her magic mirror, the slave in the mirror. It's just like, who is the fairest of them all? The mirror's like, okay, look, you're good looking. You're good. You're good if you, but beauty's only skin deep, right? I think I know you know that, because you've been trying to keep this 14-year-old girl in rags to hide her outer beauty, because you can't do anything about her inner beauty. But because of that, because you're just horrible, Snow White is the fairest of them all. And the queen's like, I will have this child killed, gotcha. The mirror is like, they're the problem. Anyway, so she hires a huntsman. She's like, look, kill the princess, put her heart in a box, bring it to me. Huntsman's like, oh, okay. At the same time, the princess is living her best life, just doing chores, boop, boop, ba-doop, being a general good person. So therefore, she attracts the prince, who, going by the scene of, I'm wishing for the one I love to find me today, they've kind of known each other. There's a comic that sort of emphasizes as well. We also reviewed that comic. It'll be somewhere. So there we go. Um, then at the whole getting the flowers, the huntsman like time to kill the girl. He sees someone's like he's like I can't do it. I am not that terrible a person as to kill a 14-year-old girl. But you gots to go. You gots to go. So she runs off. She has a trauma experience in the forest, which is why everything pretty much comes to life. Because, as realizing that her own family wants her dead, she now has to survive on her own. Big surprise, 14-year-old girl can't really do that. And after having a bit of a mental breakdown, she gets herself together with meeting her animal friends, which will be a long standing Disney tradition for at least two more films. Depending on who you ask. Also be replaced by the appliances in Beauty and the Beast, but whatever. You could also say they were prototypes to the later animal companions we'll see in the later Disney films. That's an interesting idea, too. The evolution of Disney animals as companions. But we're not here to talk about that. So Snow White gets herself together. The animal's like, you know what? Let's get her somewhere. They take her to an old cottage. It's a mess. Like, well, I need to stay here. This place is a mess. I will offer my cleaning services in exchange for a room and board. So it's like she cleans up. It's a great moment. Whistle while you work. Da 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 da. Okay, and it's great. She even cooks. Meanwhile, the seven dudes who just working and working and working, they're on the way home, and it's a great musical scene. One of the best scenes ever. I still loved it. Okay, so when they're in, they see Snow White. They think she's a problem. Well, Grumpy thinks she's a problem. Everyone else is like, well, she's a lost and alone 14-year-old girl. She needs our help. And she's the princess. Grumpy also mentions that, the queen is a witch, right? Like a flat out witch. I think they all knew. I'm like, so is this like public knowledge? Did everyone know? Or if the live action remake goes into how the dwarves know Snow White, and don't make it be they were once men turned into dwarves. Don't don't do that. Um, so she offers to cook and clean, and they're like, cook? Yes, who'd have thought? Seven bachelors wanting someone to cook for them. So that's pretty much it for the most part. She gets to stay, everything's fine, hilarity ensues. The evil queen finds us out like I will then decide to turn into a hag. Have the flesh reflect the madness within. And she looks gruesome. It's the best way to sum it up. As again, the flesh reflects the evil within, the ugliness within. And then she makes an apple, a poisoned apple. Alright, that'll put you in a death-like sleep. I'm like, okay. The cure is true love's kiss. Steve Muir's gonna do this better, right? Kind of. So she goes in, orchestrates the perfect trap for Snow White, as Snow White takes the apple, bites it, falls. The dwarves assemble a kill team, go after her. Evil Queen falls to her death, signifying a long tradition of bad guys dying as they fall. And as the dwarves mourn their princess, the prince, who has had limited screen time because he was very hard to animate, and this movie was totally over budget, presumably, I'm guessing, gets his second scene where he goes, kisses Snow White, and she wakes up and thinking that the apple did do what she thought it would do, is able to go off and live happily ever after. So, what's the part of this movie that really works? Snow White. Like, it's weird because honestly, Snow White can come off as a bit of a bland character. Let's be 100% honest on that. That's if you're not really paying attention. So to say she doesn't have any character or personality, I think is unfair. Because she is kind of just adorable with how much fun she has with situations. She is sort of like a big sister, a mother to the seven dwarves. And we see that, especially when she's talking to Grumpy. Like, we got the clip? Play the clip.
Oh, you must be grumpy.
Yeah.
Love it. Oh, I love it. There's a sort of tenderness to Snow White. And granted, she's a 14-year-old girl, so of course she's not going to be like girl boss, which I don't quite get. Like, Disney didn't really have a girl boss, depending on how you define girl boss. If you define girl boss as career-oriented, that isn't anybody to tell Tiana. All right? If you define girl boss as someone who, sees something and goes for it, then you have Ariel. But really, that's it. Or if you have someone who, stands up for herself, that would still technically be Ariel standing up to her father. But if you want something a bit more concrete, you could say Belle or Jasmine. But some say like it's Mulan. Not really. Girl boss moments, sure. But it all depends on how you would view it. But no, Snow White's character trait, and this is often a trait of the first 3 Disney princesses, is that they're just nice people. Which you could say is the biggest fantasy of them all. That someone who is in this life of privilege is actually nice to people. She doesn't see herself as better than anyone. But I've often said that the first 3 Disney princess movies are really about the outside world interacting with the princess. Sleeping Beauty is like the prime example of this. Her and Philip are just backdrops. All right, they just are pawns to be moved in the battle of King Stefan and the good fairies versus Maleficent. And okay, sure. We'll get to the queen. Cinderella is about the mice, the evil stepsisters, stepmother, and Cinderella. That's kind of it. They and their relationship with Cinderella. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is about the Seven Dwarves and meeting Snow White. Like, they effectively meet a girl, and she's made their lives better. All right. I'd like to think in a perfect world, they've got a chore wheel now. All right. They know for a fact that Sneezy can't handle the dusting. It'll be a nightmare, won't go anywhere, because they know how to clean. Like, Doc showed them all how to clean. But it's neither here nor there. I think that is sort of what we have to understand about those 3 films, and this is sort of in line with how I tend to view a lot of what Walt does, or did. He liked side characters. I think he tended to view side characters as more important than the other characters, because side characters make your world. This is me putting words in Walt's mouth, or like his ideas. There are Walt Disney scholars and analysts who will do this much better than I am, or will, unless you can prove me otherwise. Yeah, go ahead, people. Prove I'm better than those guys. I'll love you if you do. No. But that tenderness, that strength of character, it's very hard to be a good person when everything is against you. It's very easy to do it when it doesn't cost you anything. All right. Consider the fact that in this movie, Snow White knows for a fact that her mother, her evil stepmother, wants her dead. And Grumpy tells her, hey, don't let anybody in the house. Don't let anybody in the house, all right? She could turn into anything, so just don't let anybody in the house. So what happens? This happens.
Oh, my poor heart. Take me in.
Now, you could say it's her being stupid. No, it's the perfect trap, as I said before. The one thing Snow White cannot do and will not do is turn her back on someone in trouble. In that moment, Snow White didn't see a possible threat. She just saw an old woman who was in need of help. That was it. It's not Snow White's fault someone took advantage of that goodness. As I said before, the world would be a lot better if we modeled ourselves after Disney princesses. Weird thing to say. And the Disney prince, honestly. But that's neither here nor there right now. It's just really hard to look at this character and say she's a problem. Maybe it's me. Maybe I think this is the whole point. This innocence that is said that we need to protect, we need to nourish. And like, this is the kind of leader we want in the world. And of course, the Seven Dwarves. I love these guys, even as a kid. Let me tell you right now, as someone who grew up loving Scrooge McDuck, for some reason, the mine scene is like my favorite scene. Of course it is. All right. We dig in a mine the whole day through. To dig is what we like to do. Which quick if you dig with a shovel or pick in a mine, with a million diamonds. Shine. We dig, 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 dig from early morn till night. We dig, 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 dig up everything inside. I love it. I love everything about this sequence. It's just fun. It's an interesting because it's also basically whistle while you work, but it's their perspective on whistle while you work. And then we get the legend. All right, we get the great moment. Yeah, we know what we're doing. The best way an entire generation left. Hi ho, hi ho. And he's like, you know what? We're going. We're going. Everybody, pack up. We're going home. All right. And it's a great sequence. We've got 7 people. All right. All walking one after the other, singing, packing up, getting ready to go. We've all been there. We've all been there. We've all left work and like we've had enough. All right. But still, it's great. The shadows, the light, it just works. I love this scene to this day. I legit, you saw me a second ago, I was doing it even more throughout the whole day. All right, we don't make things like this anymore. We probably do. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like fangasming right now. I need to calm down. But that simplicity, because this carries on into other films. It's all sort of like, hey, this is our life. This is my family. It's based the family madrigal, but with less drama and internalized issues. All right, or Moana. I've forgotten the family song. All right, from Moana. But yes, we don't make things like this anymore in this sort of same way. It's simplicity. Or actually, no, 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 no. No, we did, and I can't believe I'm saying it. Frozen did it with Frozen Heart, which is like still the best song in the first Frozen movie. Don't at me. It's the best song. Let's talk about this broad. Oh, oh, I this is that classic evil. All right, we did a video series on the school of Disney villainy. That school is dead now. There are no great Disney villains. Died with Dr. Facilier, really. Tamatua is a love note to Disney villain songs, but Dr. Facilier was the last great Disney villain. But here, this is that classic evil. There's no redeeming qualities about this woman. In a world now, we want to constantly try to deconstruct, like, understand why she's the way she is. I'm like, oh, well, that can be interesting. But a big problem is, in that discourse, we tend to try to justify what they did. Like, well, it's her husband didn't really love her. Why'd she marry him? Why'd she marry him? If she didn't have a choice, she shouldn't care. All right? Was he abusive? No, it's okay. So she was trapped in a loveless marriage. So was he. Okay. Sometimes these things don't work out. And in a real life, you don't marry for love anyway. But anyway, the fact is that she is so focused on her beauty, which, okay, sure, as the Dowager Queen, all right, her power will slowly fade as time goes on. She'll have maybe more influence, but not power. All right, she married into the throne. So by default, Snow White, whoever Snow White marries, will more than likely take her place. She'll fade further and further in the background. And honestly, she could just go home presuming that she's also royalty of another place, she could return to her family castle. But no, that's not it. She loves the power. And whatever happened to her in America this way kind of doesn't matter at the end of it. Because what do you think goes through your head to make you say, I have to kill a 14-year-old girl because the mirror, which is a beautiful character, love it, it's very ethereal. Very, I love the monotone face, the way the mirror is almost like, she says like, through space and dimensions. Like, okay, so in some dimension, like he's a slave in the mirror. So somewhere she is tapping, she's like pulled him out of wherever he is, or he's trapped somewhere and the mirror is a gateway out. Right, he still can't get out. Whatever. But anyway, it's pointed out this woman never smiles. She never takes any joy in anything. Even in the fact that Snow White is dead, she takes no joy in it. The only time she smiles, really, is after she lets it all go. You can say she's very composed. Like, I must be dignified. Even when I'm doing terrible things, I must be dignified as long as I look like this, as long as I look of royalty. And then the transformation happens. This scene is honestly one of the best ever to this day. Because what is this at the end of the day? Like, it's a whole bunch of theatrics to get her like, you know what? I need to look different. And what really happens here is, like, ignore everything else going on here. Everything was designed to sort of take away this image, this fake look as to who she is. We'll see this done again and again and again in other films by Disney, but really, What is she but an ugly old hag? And as we said before, she never smiles in this entire film when she looks like herself, the image she tries to convey to herself, to convey to others that she's this person in control and everything. And what happens when she finally pulls it all the way, when she looks exactly how she is on the inside? Yeah, this cackling broad, this hag, this beast of a woman. All right. And honestly, that works. We'll see it again in Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty and Little Mermaid. Little Mermaid. Pinnacle of it is in Beauty and the Beast. Of course, who is the monster and who is the man? Of course, Hunchback of Notre Dame. But is what it is on that one. All depends on what you're looking for in your story. The Seven Dwarves, well, you have your favorites, your least favorites. It all depends on your mood at the end of the day. I'm Doc. I love Doc. Someone said that explains a lot. She and I'll have words later. I think because, I tend to fumble my words the same way as Doc does. It's not as comical or as interesting. Doc's just a better me, I guess, if we're going to go with that one. But Grumpy. Oh, woman hater Grumpy. Walt's words, not mine. Dopey was apparently too hard to find a voice for, so that's why he doesn't talk. Happy, I think, might be one of people's favorites too, but who can hate Bashful? Probably people in hostage situations like Bashful, this is not the time. This is not the time. Bashful, get on the intercom and tell him we need... No, okay, whatever. But they all formed a kill team when it was time to go after the Evil Queen, and I love them for that. It is also sort of weird when you think that these two never actually meet face to face. Sort of, but not really. A lot of Disney villains, sort of the classic villains, where there's sort of no bottom for them, tend to not meet the hero until the end, or their target until the end. Sykes in Oliver Company doesn't meet his target until the end, whether that be Oliver or Jenny. Shere Khan doesn't meet Mowgli until the end of the movie. And then again, in a lot of these films, they're not like the actual obvious villain. Technically, Aurora never meets Maleficent. Philip does. Philip gets his hole full of Maleficent. And he's like, you know what? I don't ever want to talk to her again. But then again, in those movies, it is not really about the clash. The clash is the inevitable bit. Like, look, at some point, they're going to have to meet. And how the story ends is what it is. It's everything leading up to it. Why do we not want Shere Khan to kill Mowgli? Because we're invested in Mowgli. We see that Mowgli respects the jungle. He loves the jungle. Also, he's a child. We don't want the child to be mauled by the tiger, regardless of what Shere Khan's motivations are. And a lot of these early movies do a good job of setting point like, hey, this is a good person. All right, she's done nothing wrong to anybody. Why should she have to suffer because someone can't deal with the fact that, hey, she's a nicer person than you, so by default, when you're at least an 8 and you're a good person, that goes to a 10. When you're a good-looking person, when you're a 10, but you're a terrible person, you might as well be a 0. All right, it's how those things work. It just is. But that's enough of this. I think for rambling, overall, I like Snow White. I think it doesn't get enough attention, enough praise for what it did for everybody. Everybody comes out on top because of Snow White. Whatever Tolkien said, be damned. So anyway, with that in mind, let's bring this to a close here. What do you guys think of Snow White? Did you like it? You hate it? What's your favorite parts? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. I'll catch you all later. Hopefully we'll have another one. I'm not sure if I want to just do all the princess ones or just do every animated feature from Disney. Leave your thoughts in the comment section which one you want, and I'll catch you all later. This is the Bucket Think Tank signing off. Thanks for watching. As always, may your fandom serve you well. Also, this all came about because I saw this hoodie.